Go.
Dalovina, good afternoon, namaskaram. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for this invitation. It gives me much pleasure to be here. This is the first time that I've come to this school. In the introduction, your head teacher had said, if you compare this school to other schools, it may be just the tip of a pencil. But it is through schools such as this that many people have achieved education. It is through small schools like this that many people have today become teachers and doctors and lawyers and engineers. And I would like to take this opportunity to, in fact, recognize all those pioneers. I mean, this school started back in 1967. It was like 2 years after I was born. It's 54 years old. And it is through the efforts of individuals, the family that donated this land for the school, the initial pioneers of the school, the people who took their time, their effort, their money to build the first classroom. I understand it started off with a bure. It was the first classroom, and then it slowly grew. And then, of course, you had those individual teachers. And many of these remote schools, of course, were continued because of the hard work and indeed efforts of those teachers. And coupled with this, you have the organization TISI that has contributed to this school. And that gives me the opportunity now to also recognize and indeed welcome the president of TISI, Honorable Praveen Bala, Minister Bala, who's heading this organization at this point in time. And it's the collaboration between the community, TISI, that we've seen this school continue to be what it is, and indeed why we are here today, the building of this new infrastructure, which is this hall. So I want to just very quickly highlight, ladies and gentlemen, as you know, we're going to deliver a budget very soon. The budget will be delivered on the 15th of July. Even though we had COVID, and even though government's revenue went overnight down by 50%, the tourism sector came to a halt. We still continued with free education. We still ensured that every single Fijian student receives free education. The teachers continue to get paid. The schools continue to get funded, because we have to invest in these young people, these young Fijians who will actually take our country forward. Today, 70% of the population in Fiji is below the age of 40. 65% of the population is below the age of 35. So all of us over the age of 40 are in the minority. The people below the age of 40 are the majority. In any country, if you look throughout history, can only be strong if it invests in its people. If it ensures that the young people have access to numeracy skills, literacy skills. It's critically important, because today's young children will be, of course, our leaders. So I'd like to congratulate once again TISI for continuing to collaborate with the community over here to ensure that the school is still functioning. I understand the roll is less than 70, it's about 69. It is not a large school by comparison to many other schools in Fiji. But of course, it plays a critical role, because if this school did not exist, many of the students would have a hard time getting to the nearest primary school. So please put your hands together for TSI, Sangam, and the community over here for running with this school, please. And also the teachers, they play a very pivotal role. As you know, government in the recent past had increased the salaries of teachers. We brought about new standards for teachers. We are currently going through an exercise where we're looking at how we can improve the working conditions of teachers. Many people, of course, given its election year, politicize these issues. But we're not looking at these matters from a political perspective. We are looking at these matters from a development perspective. What level of investment should we make? We need to think 5, 10, 15 years ahead, not thinking about the now, not thinking about how one can get into power, but thinking about how we can invest in these young people. thinking about how we can invest in our teachers to give them better career path. Today, we have had a number of teachers that have left Fiji because there's a shortage of teachers in Australia and New Zealand. There's a shortage of chefs in Australia and New Zealand. There's a shortage of tradespeople in Australia and New Zealand. There's a shortage of accountants in Australia and New Zealand, in particular in Australia. So you see many people leave. From a government's perspective, our goal is to see how we can make it even more attractive so our people can stay here. Because if we have a whole lot of people leaving because the work conditions are better there or better pay, then we'll be left with a whole gap. So this is why you'll continue to see government improving civil service terms and conditions, improving the education sector and investing in our people, investing in Fiji National University. Because very soon these children, you may not think so, but they'll end up in university. So what kind of courses can we offer them? What kind of educational career path we can give them? So I'd like to just help you understand what we are doing. And building of these halls obviously ensures that we're able to provide that infrastructure. We're able to provide the level of amenities and facilities that will not only make the school attractive, not only make the students want to study harder, but it will also play a large community role in this area. So as I mentioned in the beginning, this is not a time for long speeches, and nor do I intend to make a long speech. But thank you once again for inviting me. I'd like to wish all the school all the best. I'd like to thank and appreciate the efforts of the community in ensuring that the school continues to function. I'd like to also applaud and appreciate the efforts of TISI to ensure that the schools, many schools now that they run throughout Fiji, will continue to provide that educational facilities and educational access to all young people of this country. Thank you very much.